Grace and peace, you guys. Equal Chapman here with the Standard of Truth podcast, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. Today, we are going to be examining some statements made by Neo surrounding his opinions on children transitioning.
This is Neo. All right, listen. I normally don't give too much of a damn about what y'all think about what I do, what y'all have to say about what I say, whatever. I normally don't care because, like I said, opinions ain't special. Everybody got one. However, this is something I feel very strongly on, and I need y'all to hear this from the horse's mouth, not the publicist's computer. So check this out. First and foremost, I do not apologize for having an opinion on this matter. I am a 43-year-old heterosexual man raising 5 boys and 2 girls. Okay. That's my reality. Now, if my opinion offended somebody, yeah, sure. I apologize for you being offended because that wasn't my intention. My intention is never to offend anybody. However, I'm entitled to feel how I feel. I'm absolutely entitled to feel how I feel the same way you are entitled to feel how you feel. I ain't asked nobody to follow me. I ain't asked nobody to agree with me. I was asked a question and I answered the damn question. Okay. I have no beef with the LGBTQIA plus community whatsoever. I ain't got no beef with y'all. Do whatever the hell it is you want to do. Do what you want to do with your kids. However, somebody asked my opinion on this matter, and this is how I feel. I will never be okay with allowing a child to make a decision that detrimental to their life. I will never be okay with that. I don't care. I definitely plan to educate myself a little bit more on this matter. However, I doubt that there's any book anywhere or any opinion that somebody's going to tell me that's going to make me okay with letting a child make a decision like that. That's just period, point blank. And that's how I feel. If I get canceled for this, then you know what? Maybe this is a world where they don't need a Neo no more. All right.
So there you have it. The singer, R&B singer Neo, basically trying to clarify the fact that a statement was put out by his publicist that it's obvious that he doesn't agree with. And so he came to set the record straight and to lay out how he really feels about the issue as it relates to children transitioning. Here are my thoughts on this. For one, I don't even believe that cancel culture is an actual thing. What I believe happens is that our affection for this present age, the things that we hold near and dear to our heart, this elite system holds those things over your head and says, if you don't conform and believe how we believe and say the things that we want you to say, all of this will be taken from you. But I think what is happening in this situation is that people are tired. People are tired of being told what to think, what to say, how to feel, and that for a moment, Neo wanted to stand flat-footed and double down on his statements because it is his opinion. I will like to point out, however, that in the statement, I can see that there is a little double-mindedness. Because if this is how you feel, and I want to applaud Neo for the fact that I actually agree with him. I think most Americans actually agree that transitioning children is highly problematic and is not healthcare, but in fact demonstrates this country's hatred for our youngest and most vulnerable image bearers. But I wanted to point out the fact that you don't need to apologize for someone else's feeling. You knew the intention wasn't to offend. You wanted to speak the truth. I don't believe that we need to give qualifiers for making objectively true statements. What needs to happen is those individuals in our society that are constantly triggered because they live in an alternate reality. They are the ones that need to manage their own feelings and align them with what is true. It is not the rest of us that have gone crazy and lost our minds. It is actually the system, the underlying system that's ruled by the kingdom of darkness in this world that wants to convince you a male and a female are not the only genders. I am sorry. I appeal to an objective standard of truth, which states that God made them male and female. Male and female, he created them. There are no more genders. Now, you might express some sort of gender fluidity in the futility and the foolishness of your own mind, but that doesn't necessitate for the rest of us to conform to your perverted pathology. I am not saying that to be dismissive or rude. I am stating that as a matter of fact. This is a man who does not want to affirm the mutilation of children. He is saying that I believe that, yes, if you are an adult and that is something that you want to do, you should be free to do so. But children do not have the mental capacity in order to differentiate between what is a temporary fleeting emotion or peer pressure or coercion. They don't have the mental faculties that have been developed enough to be able to make those distinctions and make permanent decisions regarding their genitalia. So I don't think there was anything wrong with what Neo said. What I would like to point out, though, is that he demonstrates an inability to really stand flat-footed and affirm what he said. And he took it back when he said in the next statement that he probably needs to go and educate himself a little bit more on the matter. No, sir, you have been adequately educated on this matter. There is no confusion. You've been gaslit from an industry that you are in that wants to affirm multiple genders and multiple gender expressions based on the changing whims of someone that might be dealing with some sort of mental issue. These are children. Children need to be left alone, and there is a wicked agenda that is designed to treat children in this way because they want to actually destroy the image of God in the earth. I do believe that that's what the transgender agenda is designed to do. It is to shake its fist at the God of creation to say, you don't know what's right. We believe that we are gods and we know better. And so therefore, we want to pervert the image of God expressed in the earth and create an alternate reality and to push that on our youngest image bearers in order to be rebellious. That is what the father of lies does. He was rebellious and he was a liar from the beginning. And so he will constantly distort the truth and encourage others who are under his influence to be rebellious as well. Neo has he has come out, he is standing on his square, and he is saying, I said what I said. Now, he kind of took a little back just a little bit by apologizing that someone else was offended because it wasn't his intent. And then when he says that he's going to go and he's going to educate himself a little more, he knows that there's no additional education that's needed. Okay? He has lived long enough to know that men cannot automatically just one day wake up and decide to be women. And he knows that women cannot just wake up one day and automatically decide that they are a man. Our gender is static. It is established via our DNA based on the sovereign choosing of God himself. He establishes and decides what gender you will be when you were born, and it is not something that you can change. He also indicates, not only do we already know that the science has been settled on this, so there's not further research that needs to be done or additional education that needs to be pursued regarding this matter. The science has always been settled. It is just only recently, right, where people are confused and right is wrong and left is right and up is now down. That is a modern construct that I believe comes from a number of places. For one, when it comes to our children, children will believe what they are taught to believe. And right now, our children is the vulnerable segment of the population that are being manipulated and deceived into thinking that their gender is fluid. That is what is happening. Overall, I just think more people need to come out and speak the truth. We need more people who, there's this boogie monster of cancel culture that looms over people's minds. And they are so fearful and so afraid of losing something that they don't realize that when you stand authentically declaring what you believe and declaring what you believe to be true, no one can take your ideas from you. No one can take your opinions from you. They are your own. That type of courage is contagious. When one person decides to be brave, it has this way of empowering other individuals to stand and be brave too. Here's my admonition for Christians. We don't get the luxury of not speaking the truth just because it's inconvenient or people don't like it, right? Our opinions on and the objective standard of truth that we appeal to has never been popular. So we should be used to cancel culture. And for two, should never even be afraid of cancel culture. Why? Because we serve a God who's cattle on 1,000 hills. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and they that dwell within. So, one, this world is not our home. We can't take anything that we've amassed or collected or earned. We cannot take it with us. So what on earth do we really have to lose when we as believers echo what has already been written and speak the truth in love? Here's what I'm saying. We don't have to be a jerk about it, right? But in the way I communicate truth is probably going to be different than the way someone else might communicate truth. But the truth is the truth regardless of where it comes from. And Christians, we don't need to bow down at the altar of this transgender movement. Your children are being targeted. And if you're not going to have the courage to speak up and say, no, leave the children alone, you take your wicked and perverse worldview and you do that in the privacy of your own home and when you want to do it. But the children are off limits. I am wondering when are parents going to actually stand up and speak out? Do not allow these people to weaponize language and words against you. Do not allow these people to redefine words and language and then attempt to use it against you. They're trying to gaslight Neo and to make him think that, he just needs to be more educated and he's just speaking out of ignorance. Those are the people that have been indoctrinated and brainwashed with this worldview. It is not the rest of us who affirm what we all have known to be true throughout the annals of time. It is them. So when they say things like you need to educate yourself and you're being bigoted, let them call you all the names in the world. Go ahead if that makes them feel better to put others down. But it doesn't change the fact that a man will always be a man no matter what he tries to cut off, no matter what he tries to insert and so on. A man born a man will always be a man. And a human female will always be a female, no matter what type of puberty blockers or hormone treatments or appendages she tries to sew on to herself. It is what it is, and it cannot be changed. And children do not need to be targeted with this mass delusion. So I am curious to know how many believers are going to stand up and affirm what is also true. These are conversations that need to be had in the public square without fear of backlash. Right now, Neo is probably experiencing a little bit of backlash, but this movement, they don't have as much power as we give them. They only have as much power as you allow them to have. They don't rule over you. They don't have the ability to prevent you from earning an income. Now, some of the corporations, depending on how you look at it, they might. But at some point, we got to be like, I don't care. Try to do whatever you want. I believe that there are more of us than it is of them. And it just takes one person to be brave and to stand up and say, I'm not no punk. I'm not going to compromise. Now, he was wobbling a little bit. He was a little unsteady, a little unsure about his position. But I do believe that he wants to stand against this indoctrination that's being wielded that's targeting our children. I do believe that. I just think someone like Neo, I was surprised that he was actually able to just come out and speak what is true. And unfortunately, his publicist didn't get the memo and, tried to get ahead of this and speak for him. But it's good to know that he came out after the fact to say, no, I said what I said, and this is how I feel, and I'm not apologizing for it. You cannot coexist with the woke mob. They do not allow for you to deviate and have a difference of opinion. That's why it doesn't even make sense to try to bow down and worship at their altars. No, you respect them as fellow image bearers, but you do not lay your weapons down in an effort to have some sort of friendly ceasefire, because they're not friendly. They will try to ruin your life, all because the agenda behind what they're pushing is wicked and it comes from the pits of hell. It is an ungodly, untenable position to hold, to think that it is okay for children to transition and change their gender before they have biologically developed into adults. That is my position. That is what I believe. And I am hoping that there are more individuals who have a platform who will use it to disseminate truth and not affirm error just because they are a coward. I hope you like this video. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Neo has exhibited a little bit more courage than maybe some Christians you know? Or did you feel like it's a good start? He stood on his square, kind of walked some stuff back just a little bit, but for the most part, it was a good expression and display of someone raising their hand and fighting back against the perverseness of our culture. Whichever position you hold or whatever you think, I want to hear from you. So until next time, you guys, grace and peace. Thank you.